2023 is over and we are in 2024. But just to summarize quickly what happened through 2023, a goal of ours was to read books, especially for me, because up until this point of my life, I've never read any books. So I set out a goal to read books, and there wasn't a specific goal of reading 1, 2, or 3 books. I just said, at least I'm gonna read a book so I can say I've read books. And I realized that high individual net worth people read books. Real estate investors, millionaires, billionaires, what do they all share in common? It's by reading books. And I noticed it's also the truth on the other side of things. All the broke people, the people that wasted time, what do they not do? They don't read books. So I said, why not? And let's give it a try. To summarize, I read more than 20 books in just 2023. But here are my top 5 favorite books of 2023. I wanted to start off the list with Alex Hormozzi's $100 million offer. Now I purchased this book also on Audible, so I can also listen to it while I read it, and he narrates the audio himself. An absolutely phenomenal book. The amount of game in this book is insane. It teaches you how to negotiate, sales tactic, marketing, how to find business opportunities, and how to lead. To be honest with you guys though, this book is not a one-time read. This, you must reread it, and you can't just read it, you must analyze it and go through exactly what's happening and pinpoint, I can do this. You actually need to study the book. It's not just a matter of, oh, let me read it lightly. No, you need to study this book. I also watch his YouTube channel, his podcasts, and you can start to see a lot of his ideas that come through it, and it gives you a broader understanding to what type of guy he is and how he even managed to get to that success. And he's the real Persian as well. He's also an Iranian guy, which really inspires me. But the keynote of the book is to make an offer so good, it becomes unrefusable. So an example it gives is, for instance, this. Let's say I want to sell a car to you, a Lamborghini Urus, for 250K. If I walked up to you on the street and said, here's the keys, here's the paper, sign everything, and you can have the car for only $10,000, you're not gonna have 10K cash on you straight away. But you're gonna make some phone calls and negotiate with someone to get that 10K sorted, because that's how good the deal is. That's make an offer so good, they can't say no. And that's exactly the same thing. You always can find a way to get it sorted if the offer is good. Now, second on the list, we have Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter by 50 Cent. Now, I want you to think of 50 Cent, of all the things he's known for, and scratch that. Because I thought of him, you know, as the same gangster, whatever. It's completely opposite. He's got his head so screwed on, and that's why he's been in this game for decades and still famous to this day. Whether that's the rapping industry, the movie industry, music, anything he goes into, he dominates it. And there's a reason for that. He talks about taking self-accountability and how to be responsible. How do you obtain this? Well, a good thing he says is, how do you not or how do you not screw it up by drinking and smoking? When you think of 50 Cent, you think of always partying, drugs, alcohol, all these things. But imagine if he doesn't drink and doesn't smoke, what does that tell you? He mentions in his book several times when he does that, he doesn't have full control over his body and he doesn't want to let anything slide. He's always listening, because he says, if I talk, I'm only repeating what I know. So I must listen. I really found that fascinating about him, especially what he did with Power, or how he used to do pop-up adventures, for instance, with his vodka company or his CDs back in the day. Amazing guy. Honestly, 50 Cent is one of my role models, and it's really iconic to see how he started, how he made it out, and how he's still going to this day. He narrates the audiobook himself on Audible, and it's just amazing to listen to, especially if you like his voice. No homo, but an amazing book. 100% recommend to read. Next on the list, we have another Iranian guy. We've talked about him a lot of times in the past, and there's no one else than Patrick Bet-David. And the book I am talking about is Your Next 5 Moves. Talking about autobiographies, personal experience, growth, financials, everything. If I could say I want to be like anyone, it would be like Patrick Bet-David. At this moment of time, the way I see how he is as a father, how he is as a businessman, in every scenario, he's the GOAT. He talks about exactly what he went through, how he was born in Iran but grew up in America, and how he led to one of the most successful insurance companies out there. Then he made Value Entertainment and all these other things that just exceeded his growth exponentially. But inside the book, he talks about exactly how to calculate your plans. So this way, you actually set plans to get closer to your goals. Even though sometimes you're not sure exactly how to get there, by consistently sticking to the plan, you get closer there. And also, for the 3rd time in a row, this is another book that he narrates himself. And by watching his content on YouTube listening to his podcasts and any other interviews he has, you can cross them and really see the resemblance, and it's a very eye-opening. Next on the list, we have Richest Man in Babylon. This is more like a storybook rather than just facts after facts, but one lesson to take away from this book: save 10% of your money. They go through an example. This archaeologist, I believe, did the same thing with his wife, and at the end of the year, they never had to think about financials again. If you have the discipline to set 10% of any income that comes in and live within 90% of your needs, you'll be more than happy. And this way, you save the money so you can invest it into real things. This was honestly one of the most enjoyable books I read, and I read it in just under 2 days because I fell in love with it. And every time I just wanted to read the next chapter, because I wanted to know what happens. Altogether, an amazing book. Now, finally, I have the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book changed the way I think about life. And I made a whole separate video on this called Goals versus Systems. So if you want to check it out, go listen. The link's in the description. It was this book that inspired us, both me and Poria, to start doing all these challenges and setting goals for ourselves in 2024. I'm sure you guys seen a lot of places on Instagram, YouTube, whatever you see, improved by 1% or referring back to this book, but I cannot stress enough, this book is a must read. Again, this is a book where you must sit down and actually study. There's a reason why these books are all bestsellers. This was my first year of actually starting to read, and I can genuinely say I fell in love with it. Not just because of the reading aspects or you're a nerd because I like it. No, it's because both me and Poria have the goal to become part of the uncommon against uncommon. And what do the common people do? They watch movies, they sit around, chill, go partying, social media, all of those things. But we're trying to cut that out so we can spend that time reading. There are so many hidden gems in books that are hidden, and the only way I can tell you guys to find those yourself is by start picking up a book and read. And trust me, it might seem like a hard task at the beginning, but once you get into it, you can't stop. It's a very good addiction. Just make sure you just don't keep binge reading. You must apply the techniques that it says, otherwise you just forget everything. This was my top 5 books of 2023. Again, this was just my opinion, no particular order. I just mentioned it how I like them. Poria has a different 5 books. Make sure to check out his video. Link will also be in the description. Let us know in the comment below what was your favorite book of the year or your top 5 also. So this way we can see if we've read any of your books, and if not, maybe we'll read some of you guys' books this year. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. Stay traditional.